The movie begins in a hot desert, where a secret agent named Anacleto is stuck after his car breaks down. Despite the setback, he is determined to finish his mission. He walks through the harsh desert toward a hidden prison where the dangerous criminals he captured are held. Anacleto's main focus is his old enemy, Vázquez, who has been in prison for 30 years and is now being moved to another place to serve the last 20 years of his sentence. Anacleto's job is to make sure the transfer goes smoothly, but things get complicated when Vázquez talks about Anacleto's son and threatens revenge. Usually calm, Anacleto loses his cool, making his mission even more risky. As Anacleto struggles to stay focused, a loud explosion shakes the area. A van rushes toward him, attacked by two mysterious people with a bazooka. The crash is violent, leaving Anacleto stunned and unable to react as Vázquez's men, Butcher and Molecule, rescue their boss from the wreck. Vázquez knocks Anacleto out and swears to get even. Meanwhile, in a busy city, Adolfo, Anacleto's son, works as a night security guard at an electronics store with his friend Martín. Although they are in their 30s, Adolfo and Martín are stuck in boring jobs and don't have a clear direction in life, just going through the motions each day. Adolfo's girlfriend, Katia, who is also Martín's sister, works as a doctor. Every morning, Katia picks up Adolfo, but he is often too tired to talk and falls asleep in the car, leaving Katia wishing for a good conversation or some music. To make things worse, Adolfo refuses to get a driver's license, adding to Katia's stress and making it harder for her to rest. Adolfo's life has become a routine of work, sleep, and watching TV, which makes Katia feel bored and frustrated, especially when they argue about driving. One day, Katia has had enough and decides to break up with him. She wants a life full of excitement and plans to move to India in a week. Adolfo is left standing in the middle of the street, feeling lost and alone. Desperate, he tries to reach out to his father, not knowing that Anacleto is a spy, and he thinks his father might be at their old family farm. In a cruel turn of events, Anacleto is stuck in the desert without his phone, which was damaged during an attack by two rebels who tried to kill him. But Anacleto is not an ordinary spy, and he quickly overpowers the attackers and takes their jeep. Needing help, he contacts his agency's headquarters to talk to the boss and ask for support. However, things get worse when he finds out that the agency is low on money and cannot send a helicopter or close the borders to catch Vázquez. Anacleto realizes he is more alone in his fight against his powerful enemy. With no help available, Anacleto has to go back alone, leaving his son's safety in the hands of the agency, which promises to send two agents to watch over Adolfo. Meanwhile, Adolfo, trying to deal with his recent breakup, goes to a bar with his friend Martín. But his mood doesn't get better, and things take an unexpected turn when they see Katia at the same bar. Martín decides to confront Katia about the breakup, but the situation quickly turns into a heated argument between the two siblings, just like their childhood fights. As the argument between Katia and Martín gets more intense, a bouncer steps in to separate them, but Katia manages to knock him out and runs away, taking Adolfo with her. The thrill of the fight awakens Katia's sense of adventure, and in high spirits, she invites Adolfo to spend the night at his apartment. The boss had sent two agents to follow a couple, hoping to gather information. However, the agents didn't notice they were being followed themselves. Sadly, they were attacked and killed when they let their guard down for just a moment. Meanwhile, Anacleto and Katia had just finished a romantic encounter. Anacleto wanted to stay close to her, but Katia pushed him away. She made it clear that their intimacy didn't mean they were getting back together. Instead, she wanted to say goodbye properly. Adolfo lay on the couch, heartbroken and crying, unable to face the world. It was then that he saw a large Asian man breaking into his apartment. At first, Adolfo thought he was a thief, but he was shocked to realize that the man was actually an assassin. A fierce fight broke out, and even though Adolfo was terrified, he surprised himself by fighting back with unexpected skill. He managed to block the assassin's deadly attacks and even landed a few hits of his own. Although he got hurt during the struggle, Adolfo was able to escape death at the hands of the ruthless intruder. During their intense battle, Adolfo and the assassin used anything they could grab as a weapon. The chaotic fight eventually moved into the bathroom, where Adolfo found himself in a dangerous situation. In a desperate move, he grabbed the assassin and threw him through the window, accidentally causing the assassin's death. Overcome with guilt and fear, Adolfo hurried to find Katia, hoping she could help him call the police. But before he could explain what had happened, a mysterious person appeared and knocked him out, adding more mystery to the situation. As the morning light came, Adolfo slowly woke up, his face covered in bruises. When Katia asked about his injuries, Adolfo nervously told her the truth, but he had no proof to back up his story. To his shock, the apartment had been cleaned, and the assassin's body was gone. Katia didn't believe Adolfo's story and accused him of making up the injuries to get sympathy, which only made things worse between them. Feeling alone and confused, Adolfo left the apartment, not knowing what to do next. But as he stepped outside, he was shocked to see his father waiting for him in an old van, ready to help him. Anacleto, who was a skilled spy pretending to be a meat producer, had secretly cleaned up the crime scene and hid the assassin's body in the back of his van. To protect his son, Anacleto invited Adolfo to come with him to their family home in the countryside, pretending it was just to help him recover from his injuries. Even though the old farmhouse was in bad shape, Adolfo found comfort in being back in the familiar place where he grew up. He was surprised to see their old dog, Sapristi, still there, showing how much the place had stayed the same. As Adolfo settled in and took care of his wounds, he couldn't shake the feeling that his father was still hiding something from him. When they arrived, Adolfo went straight to his room, not wanting to talk to his father because he suspected he was still hiding something. While Anacleto checked in with the boss to make sure they were safe, their brief peace was suddenly broken by more assassins showing up. With only seconds to react, Anacleto spotted the first assassin hiding in a nearby tree. They fought fiercely, using anything they could find as weapons, including a gun that Anacleto had cleverly hidden inside a cow. In the end, Anacleto won the fight, but the danger was far from over. Despite their efforts to keep the violence contained, the fight eventually moved inside their home. Anxious to keep his true identity and mission a secret from Adolfo, Anacleto hid the assassin's body in the kitchen. But when Adolfo kept going to the kitchen for nut-free snacks, he accidentally discovered his father's dark secret. Shocked and horrified, Adolfo saw Anacleto trying to dispose of the body by putting it into a meat grinder, forcing him to face the painful truth that his father was not who he thought he was. With no other choice, Anacleto admitted that he was a secret agent, which was a huge shock to Adolfo. As the truth sank in, Adolfo thought back to his lonely childhood on the farm and finally understood why his father was always gone. But what Adolfo couldn't accept was Anacleto's calm attitude towards killing people. The tension between father and son grew, but their argument was suddenly interrupted by gunshots outside. More of Vázquez's men had arrived, and they were attacking the farmhouse. Realizing that he had been trained as a child, Adolfo grabbed a weapon from Anacleto's stash and began to fight back. The sound of gunfire and explosions filled the air, but they managed to defeat the attackers. Anacleto then revealed that Vázquez was once his partner, but he betrayed the boss to work for whoever paid the most. The two of them decided to make a plan to take him down and protect themselves. As they worked on their plan, Adolfo learned more about his father's life as a secret agent and started to understand the sacrifices he made to keep the family safe. Together, they set out on a dangerous mission to stop Vázquez and bring him to justice. Despite winning the fight, Adolfo refuses to follow in his father's footsteps and doesn't want to kill anyone. When more enemies arrive, Anacleto hands Adolfo a gun, insisting that he is already trained. Adolfo thinks back to his childhood, realizing that the games he played were actually part of his training, which helped him fight off the assassin in his apartment. But even with this knowledge, Adolfo still resists, so Anacleto takes over and starts shooting, even using a piece of gum that turns out to be a bomb. Anacleto takes down all the henchmen, but their dog, Sapristi, accidentally sets off the bomb and dies. Adolfo wants to go to the police, but his father refuses, and to keep him safe, Anacleto has to tie him up and force him into the van. Anacleto and Adolfo quickly leave the farm because it's too dangerous to stay. While on the road, Anacleto reveals that Adolfo's late mother was also a spy. Meanwhile, the boss visits Vázquez, who had betrayed his top agent, and demands payment. Vázquez, having been in prison for 30 years, has very little money left, so the boss gives him one day to come up with the cash or face the consequences. Anacleto and Adolfo arrive at a post office that is secretly the spy agency's headquarters, but they find a horrifying scene. Everyone inside has been poisoned. Desperate for help, they rush to an emergency spot. However, when they return to the parking lot, they find a group of assassins trying to escape. As the assassins chase them, Anacleto and Adolfo shoot back in an exciting exchange of gunfire. Anacleto manages to take down one of the attackers and grabs his walkie-talkie. Even though Adolfo notices his father has been shot, Anacleto ignores the injury and contacts Vázquez, vowing to avenge his fallen comrades. They escape to the rooftop by elevator, but when they find the exit blocked, they jump off the building and land on a passing truck. The danger isn't over yet, as more henchmen quickly catch up, leading to a high-speed chase. The jump from the building leaves Anacleto injured, but he refuses to go to the hospital. Adolfo carries him to Kadia's house, hoping she can help. When they arrive, Kadia is unsure of their true intentions. With her parents about to arrive, Kadia tries to hide them in her room, pretending they are just hanging out. Kadia finds herself in an awkward situation when she needs help keeping Anacleto still while she treats his wound. She pulls Martín into her room, which makes her parents suspicious of what's really going on. Later that night, when Adolfo and Martín are both asleep, Kadia confronts Anacleto about keeping secrets from his son. She blames him for making Adolfo so dull and uninterested in life by keeping him isolated on the farm. As the night went on, Vázquez got information about where Anacleto was hiding and sent Butcher and Molecule to find him. The next morning, Adolfo, Kadia, and Martín woke up to the smell of breakfast cooking. They didn't know that Anacleto had put truth serum in the orange juice, planning to question Kadia's parents. As they all started revealing embarrassing secrets, Kadia's mother admitted that she had been giving information to Vázquez for the past 2 years. The surprises didn't stop there. She also revealed that the henchmen were on their way to the apartment. As things got more serious, the group realized their only way out was through the window, so they quietly escaped using the fire escape. Anacleto stayed behind to hold off the enemies and started shooting at them, while Martín, Adolfo, and Kadia ran away. Unfortunately, Martín wasn't fast enough and got left behind. Luckily, the henchmen didn't go after him because their main target was Adolfo. They trapped him in a shopping mall, where he tried to fight back using the skills his father had taught him. But his efforts were in vain when Molecule used a taser on him, making it easy for Butcher to capture Kadia. Vázquez took Adolfo and Kadia to his hideout and tortured Kadia, injuring her eye, to force Adolfo to talk. In pain and fear, Adolfo finally agreed to meet with his father. They arranged to meet at a train station, where Anacleto and Martín found Jimeno, an undercover agent pretending to be a homeless man. Jimeno helped them contact the boss, who was surprisingly still alive. Anacleto, who was good at reading people, quickly noticed signs that the boss was hiding something. Suspecting that the boss had been working with Vázquez, Anacleto took control of the situation and shot him. It turned out the boss had given Molecule and Butcher the plan for the prison break. His goal was to create a big mission to prove the agency was still important and avoid budget cuts that could shut it down. The boss denied knowing where Adolfo was, and Anacleto, believing he was telling the truth, left him with Jimeno. Meanwhile, Anacleto retrieved some hidden guns and shared them with Martín, who accidentally shot himself in the foot out of carelessness. Suddenly, chaos broke out at the train station as people ran for their lives when they saw Kadia and Adolfo tied together with a bomb. A kid, sent by Vázquez, handed Anacleto a phone. Vázquez revealed that the only way to stop the bomb was to stop Adolfo's heart. The police brought in a bomb squad, but they couldn't find a solution. With time running out, Anacleto asked everyone to leave so he could have a moment alone with his son. As they talked about their past memories, Anacleto admitted that he was more scared now than ever before. He shared how helpless he felt when his late wife had an allergic reaction to nuts, and there was nothing he could do to save her. He explained that unlike fighting real villains, where he could use his strength, this situation was different. The memory of his wife's allergic reaction gave Anacleto an idea. He quickly got some peanuts from a nearby machine and an epinephrine shot from the emergency team. His plan was to give Adolfo an allergic reaction to stop his heart for a short time, allowing them to safely remove the bomb. Then, they would use the injection and CPR to bring him back. Adolfo was terrified, but he found the courage to go through with the plan. With Kadia and Anacleto working together, they successfully defused the bomb and saved Adolfo's life. But the mission wasn't over yet. Anacleto believed Vázquez was still in the building, and he was right. Vázquez had cleverly disguised himself as a member of the bomb squad, waiting for the right moment to attack. Without delay, Anacleto chased after Vázquez, with Adolfo following him. Despite his injuries, Adolfo was determined to help his father bring Vázquez to justice. As they ran through the building, Katia gave Adolfo a good luck kiss. Finally, they caught up with the bad guys in the parking lot, where Vázquez tried to hide in a car while molecules started shooting at them. This time, Adolfo was firm in his decision and killed his target without hesitation. But the danger wasn't over yet, as Butcher was still after them. To outsmart him, Anacleto sneaked into the guard's office and grabbed a bunch of car keys. He used them to unlock random cars from a distance, distracting Butcher by drawing his gunfire away from them. Even though their plan was clever, Butcher managed to spot Anacleto and shot him, leaving him seriously injured. In a desperate attempt to escape, Adolfo helped his father into a car and begged him to teach him how to drive. With adrenaline rushing through him, Adolfo knew there was no time to waste. He had to get them to safety, no matter what. Adolfo was not a skilled driver, and it showed as he struggled to control the car. However, his lack of experience worked in his favor when he accidentally rammed Butcher against a wall, taking out the dangerous assassin. Their relief was short-lived as Vázquez suddenly appeared in a van, aiming to take them down. Anacleto acted quickly and jumped out of the car to avoid being hit, but Adolfo's seatbelt got stuck, trapping him inside. In a moment of desperation, Anacleto fired his gun to cut the seatbelt and pushed Adolfo out of the car, taking the full impact of the van himself. As Adolfo held his dying father in his arms, tears streamed down his face. Anacleto's last words were filled with regret for not being able to give Adolfo a better childhood, but he also expressed how proud he was of his son. Holding his father's lifeless body, Adolfo was overwhelmed with grief and loss. Despite his sorrow, Adolfo knew that Vázquez was still out there and that justice had to be served. He took his father's gun and went after Vázquez. Using his wits, Adolfo lured Vázquez into a trap by pretending to be lost in a corridor. Vázquez fell for the trick, but Adolfo had one more surprise. He had placed explosive gum on the floor, causing a massive explosion that killed Vázquez. Adolfo narrowly escaped the blast, moving just in time to avoid certain death. Adolfo was heartbroken as he buried his father on the farm, surrounded by friends who came to support him. With a heavy heart, he said a final goodbye to his father, promising to live a life that would make him proud. After everything that had happened, Adolfo realized that Katia had been right. The adventure had given him a new appreciation for excitement and danger, but Katia wanted a peaceful and quiet life at home. She still didn't want to get back together, and Adolfo had to accept that their paths had diverged, making a future together impossible. With his father gone and a new sense of purpose, Adolfo was determined to carry on his father's legacy and fight for justice. He found a new opportunity when the spy agency was reopened, with his father's trusted friend Martin becoming the new boss. Taking on his father's code name, Adolfo became the new Anacleto and set out to right the wrongs that had haunted his father. His first mission took him to the desert, where he tracked down the freedom fighters who had attacked his father years ago. With a new passion for justice and his father's spirit guiding him, Adolfo was ready to face any challenge that came his way. So the moral of the story is, sometimes the best way to bond with your dad is through a bit of accidental murder, a car chase, and saving the world. Who knew family therapy could be so intense?